Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. For this week's video, I'm going to do another day in the life video detailing my lesson planning process. If you're new to my channel, again, welcome. My name is Nania Yasmin, and I am documenting my journey as an expat and English teacher living in Taiwan. So I do work in an elementary school. It is a public school, and so I thought you guys would find this helpful to just kind of see what I'm doing outside of the classroom. I do have another day in the life video where you can see me with the students and see me teaching a little bit, so I will go ahead and link that above. If you haven't seen that, definitely check that out. And yeah, this video is kind of the other half of my job, so we'll go ahead and jump right in. Okay, so I teach grades 2, 4, and 6. Just to kind of briefly go over my schedule, I of course work Monday through Friday, and I have 21 classes every week. So there are 5 second grade classes that I teach, there are 8 fourth grade classes that I teach, and then there are also 8 sixth grade classes. So I only need to make 3 lesson plans, and then I will teach that same lesson plan multiple times throughout the week. So we'll actually just take a look at my actual schedule. So my schedule is just the teacher, which is my name, the grades that it includes, 2, 4, and 6. This is Monday through Friday, and the school day has 7 periods. Each class period is 40 minutes. You can see on Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, I have a pretty heavy schedule. So I like to lesson plan on Wednesdays and Fridays just because my schedule is really light. So on Wednesday, I only have 3 morning classes. I have the entire afternoon off, and the same for Friday. I only have 2 classes, so that is plenty of time for me to prepare my lessons for the following week. So before we take a look at my computer and get started, I wanted to note that when you are lesson planning, you always work a week in advance. So for example, today's Friday, we are in week 11 of the semester, so I will be finishing up my lesson plans for next week, which is week 12. In fact, my school requires my lesson plans to be done by Friday afternoon so that I don't have to take work home with me. Once I clock out on Friday, I am done. I'll give you guys a quick view of my office again. I share this space with one other teacher, my friend Valeria. She also teaches English. She teaches the other half of grade 2. She teaches grade 3 and grade 5. So that's how they have split it up at my school. But this is our space that we have when we're not in the classroom. This is where you can find us. So it's pretty basic. I just have a computer, and yeah. I still use a regular old USB. Crazy to think that that's considered old school these days. A lot of people use Google Drive, Google Slides, and things like that. I do highly recommend saving your files onto Google Drive though, just in case I lose this or something happens to it. I would be devastated if I lost all of my work over the years. So definitely have a backup if you are going to use a USB. So I have a designated folder on my USB specifically for all of my lesson plans. The current year that we're on, year 2020/2021. So once we go into the folder, I have exams, and then again my lesson plans for each grade, 2, 4, and 6. I also keep my employment contract readily available just in case I need to ever quickly refer back to that for any reason. And then our contact information just includes the phone numbers and emails of the English department at my school. So this is the grade 2 folder. The grade 4 folder looks the same. I break it down between semester 1, semester 2, and then each semester has its own syllabus, and it is the same for grade 6. For my school specifically, my co-teachers created the syllabi. I did not have to do that. My co-teachers just give us the syllabus at the beginning of each semester, and that is what I use as a reference to plan all of my lessons. And also, if you're, I'm sorry, this window is blowing me. A co-teacher is the Taiwanese teacher that is in class with me that speaks English. So our English department is made up of the foreign English teachers, which is myself and Valeria. We see the students once a week, and then our English department also includes actual Taiwanese teachers that speak English. They are their English teachers, and they see the students twice a week. So they have their own classes twice, and then they co-teach with us once. They are there in my class to just help with class management, help with translating, because there is the language barrier, of course, and they just, you know, oversee our department. For grades 2, 3, and 4, you will have a co-teacher. Grades 5 and 6, you teach by yourself. There is no co-teacher in the classroom with you. So I think for the sake of this video, I will show you guys grade 4 in detail. I will go ahead and pull up the syllabus for this semester, which is spring 2021. Each syllabus looks the same. As you can see, it is broken down by the week that we are on and the date of that week. So because we are on each unit for 3 to 4 weeks, I like to keep the same body of how I create my lessons. So for, my hands are ashy, hold on. For week 1, regardless of the unit we are on, for week 1, that is always the introduction lesson. This is the first time the students are seeing the material. So I always focus on vocabulary and sentence patterns. The entire lesson is just dedicated to familiarizing the students with their vocabulary words and practicing recognizing them, practicing pronunciating them, and then we will practice the sentence pattern. Week 2, I always focus on a story. So I will show you guys the student books that come with each grade, but for week 2 is always the story. This is like oral practice. So I will start the lesson by reviewing our material from the previous week, and then the focus for week 2 is the story. This is oral practice for them. They get to listen to a conversation using those vocabulary words and sentence patterns. They also will learn, you know, little phrases, new phrases within the story as well. And again, you're just practicing their reading skills, their pronunciation, dictation, tone, things like that. And by week 3, my focus is writing. So they are also learning how to speak, read, and write English. So by week 3, again, you always want to just use week 1 as your foundation and then build on top of it. So by week 3, I'm still reviewing vocabulary and sentence patterns. If we have time, we'll go over the story again from the previous week. The book also comes with like a song or a chant, so we'll listen to that. And then we will go into writing practice. So now they have to use that sentence pattern and figure out how to answer the questions on their own. And instead of verbally answering it, they have to write it down. This is where I'm looking for grammar, you know, their handwriting in general, if they're writing the letters correctly, if they have, you know, the correct punctuation, if the correct letters are, you know, uppercase and lowercase, their spacing. Basically, week 3 is dedicated to that. The book also comes with like a cultural segment where they try to give like real life examples for the students. So if it's a 3-week, if we're spending 3 weeks on the unit, then I will stuff it into week 3. If the unit is 4 weeks, then I will dedicate week 4 to that. I keep a separate folder for each grade. So again, I have grade 2, 4, and 6. Grade 6 is down here because I have class in a few minutes. So here is my folder. It's a mess, I know. But each student gets a practice book. Again, this is where they will do all of their writing practice. This is their student book that they get. This includes the 4 units that we will be going over. And then I also get a packet of flashcards that include the vocabulary that we're focused on. So you get a picture, and then you also get the actual spelling of that vocabulary word. And that's pretty much all the materials I get. This book also has an ebook, which is like the book on the computer. It's like virtual, so that is also helpful as well. This is where they can listen to the stories on there. There's songs on there. There's even like games and stuff on there as well. So the ebook is a great tool and it's pretty interactive. But I'll go ahead and show you my grade 4 book. So as you can see, there's lesson 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then you have some reviews. This is for midterms, and this is for finals. And this is all the material that the lessons have. So lesson 1, vocabulary, was dedicated to weather. So their sentence pattern was, how's the weather? It's sunny, cloudy, rainy, snowy, windy. And then these are the like phrases that they had to learn because it was included in the story I was talking about. And the same follows for unit 2, 3, and 4. So I will show you lesson 3 because this is what we're currently working on. I'm on week 3 of lesson 3. Each lesson in the book looks exactly the same. So this is the first page. Like I said, on week 1, I focused just strictly on the vocabulary. Ebook, like I said, has some activities in there where they can listen and number and just have additional practice. There's listen and repeat, listen and chant. Week 2 is story time. This is where I focus on the actual conversation. We will do role playing where I let the students choose a character that they get to read and things like that. We'll practice as a class. I'll break them up into groups where they can practice in smaller teams. These are the sentence patterns. So this is also what I focused on week 1. This is an activity that the book includes. Sometimes I use these, sometimes I don't. It just depends on what the activity is, but this was a little game for them that we did play. This is the daily English I was referring to. So these phrases are included in the story and they may or may not be familiar with them. And then the unit also comes with a song that I will let them listen to and we'll practice. They have phonics. I don't teach phonics. My English department and co-teachers decided for me not to teach phonics, so the co-teacher does that, but you may or may not be teaching phonics as well. And then this was the little cultural lesson I was referring to, because this lesson is dedicated to food, hamburger, hot dog sandwiches. They just give them real life examples of different foods from around the world. I will either do this week 3 or 4, dependent on how long we are on that unit. Every unit looks exactly the same. As time passes, lesson planning definitely should get easier. It should definitely get faster. I like to go back and use old lessons and just revamp them with the new content. You definitely don't have to start from scratch every week. Also, it's good for the students. I like to switch up like my review activities and my writing activities, but the focus and the teaching aim is always the same. So even my students now, I've had them for 2 years, and they even know the structure of how the classes are going to be ran, which is helpful for them because, again, this is English as a second language for them. So not only is there a language barrier, but they're also just young kids with short attention spans. So repetition is important for them so that they know what's going on. You want them to be able to follow along and to know what's going on. As long as you create that strong foundation by week 1, by the time you get to week 2, 3, and 4, you're just building on top of that. Go ahead and back into my computer. I like to start my lesson planning with the actual written part of the lesson plan, this takes the shortest amount of time. So I have a template that I use for every class. It's the same one. And this is what it looks like. So I have some things that I repeat every single week, so just so that I don't have to refill it in, that's why I have a template. But as you can see here, you just indicate what grade this lesson plan is for, what week you're in, and what dates correspond with that week. And then you also put your co-teachers here, and then I put my name as well. And then I just have these subsections. So I have goals for the week, the warm-up will do, the main section, and then the wrap-up. And then I will indicate any materials I need for the class. I'll go ahead and show you what it looks like once I'm done. This is grade 4's lesson plan. Next week is week 12. I hope you guys can see this. I left the goals section empty just because my co-teachers know my teaching style at this point. Again, I mentioned before, I keep the same structure for every lesson. So depending on the week, we're either focusing on vocabulary, sentence patterns, oral practice with the story, or written practice with the writing. So I don't need to really indicate that on my lesson plans, and my co-teachers are really laid back, so they don't require me to do that. But that's basically what you could write here, like what is your goal or what is your focus for this lesson. For the warm-up, I always greet the students. Hello, how are you? Again, this is week 3 that we're on, so I always start with a song. We'll listen to it, and then we'll go through it, like read the lyrics so that the students know every word, just in case there's any unfamiliar words in there for them. And then we will sing along with the actual audio. The audio is all included in the ebook. I've indicated here that we will do a quick vocabulary review. They know it at this point, so this should literally only take a few minutes. We'll then go ahead and do Toby Goes Around. That's the cultural lesson that I was referring to earlier. And then we will just focus on our goal for the week, which is the writing practice. So this is where students have to be able to answer the questions and complete sentences, but instead of verbally saying the answer, they need to be able to write it out in a neat, correct sentence. And then I wrap up every lesson the same. We do rewards, so I will collect the books. I'll count up each point, or I'll count up all the points that each group got, and the top 3 groups will get to stamp their books. So that can take anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes. And for materials, they're usually the same too. I have computer, projector, ebook, PowerPoint, and practice books. That's what we will be using next week. And so in terms of materials, I pretty much keep it simple. Most of my lessons, I just use the ebook as well as my PowerPoint. The first week when we're doing vocabulary and sentence patterns, I will use those flashcards that I showed you. So I will bring these myself. My co-teachers have a copy as well though. Sometimes I use whiteboards. If I indicate we're doing a whiteboard activity, then the co-teacher will prepare these for me, along with the markers and erasers. Those are the only materials that I typically need. If maybe we have an activity where they need to color, then I'll let my co-teacher know to tell their homeroom teachers to tell the students that they need to bring their own markers or colored pencils. My co-teachers do help me prepare because I teach in their classrooms. I don't have my own classrooms. So when I come into class for my lessons, the computer is already on, the ebook is already up, the projector is already on, my PowerPoint is already downloaded because I previously sent it to them with my lesson plans. If we're using practice books that week, then the practice books are already ready to pass out. If we're using the whiteboards, they'll have all of that ready. So your co-teachers typically should help you prepare for your lessons so that when you walk in, all you need to do is get started. I indicate that every single week there have been times where I walk into class and the projector's not working, or the computer's not working, or the sound isn't working, and that is when you have to get really creative and figure it out from there. But yeah, as long as everything's working, then your co-teacher will help you prepare your materials for you. I also wanted to note, again, lessons are 40 minutes long, so you want to estimate how long it will take for each of your bullet points to take. All of this equals up to about 35 to 40 minutes. So now that I've written everything out, I know what I'm gonna do. I will just create a PowerPoint that corresponds with this written lesson plan. So again, I will just reiterate that we are on lesson 3, what do you want to eat? Because we've been doing this for 3 weeks already, they're really familiar with the content at this point, so we will just quickly review as a class. We will read the question together, and then whichever one blinks, they will answer in a complete sentence. So what do you want to eat? I want 2 hot dogs. I want ice cream. I want an apple pie. From there, I always will tell them verbally where to open their book, but I also will show them, just because some of them are still unfamiliar with their numbers, especially bigger numbers like this, or is Toby Goes Around. So they just need to open their books, and we will watch the video that comes along with that, and then I will go over the examples in the book, and then I will give them some additional examples. Here's our writing activity. They know when they see this that we will be writing, so they take out their pencils, erasers. Page 47 is the book in the page in the book that has their sentence patterns in there. And then I just give them a little note, please write the question and answer in a complete sentence. So by that, they will have their books open by now. They will write the question, what do you want to eat? And then as these little pieces disappear, they will have figured out, oh, I want a sandwich. Here is the correct sentence. Yeah, so me and my co-teacher will go around the classroom and check for capital letters. We will check for spacing. We will check for punctuation, if they need a comma anywhere or apostrophe. That is what we are checking for. Same with the question. Once it's correct, we will take a red pen and literally just check it. If it's incorrect, we will circle it, and then we will refer them to their book, and they usually by then will figure out what they need to correct. We will repeat that for all 6 vocabulary words, and that should take up my entire lesson. The students like to be rewarded for their participation, so what I like to do is, the classes are already broken into groups, so my classes are anywhere from 24 to 26 students, so each group has about 4 students. There's 6 groups of 4 to 5 students in them, and basically as we go through class, whether it's volunteers or I'm taking the popsicle sticks and calling for a student to answer popsicle sticks that I have, I'll have them answer a question, and then I will reward them with a point on the board, and by the end of class I will count up all their little tally marks, and the top 3 groups get to stamp their books. That's really good for participation. They're really competitive, and they like to be rewarded for their participation. I think that is it. I hope that was helpful. This wasn't one of my most interactive PowerPoints. Yeah, once my lesson plans are completed, I will just send them over to my co-teachers. Yeah, you can either, well, my co-teachers, you can either email them to them, or you can have like a Google Drive group where you share everything with them and they will be able to see it that way. It's Friday afternoon today, so I'm actually gonna go ahead and send those lesson plans over to them, and if I have any notes to leave myself for Monday, I'll write them on a sticky note, stick them on my computer, and just in case there's anything I didn't finish, or if there's something I need to print Monday morning, I'll just leave a note for myself. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, it's Friday. I'm ready to go. I hope you guys found that helpful. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, if there's anything I didn't go over or I didn't give enough detail, let me know and I will try to help you guys out. But that's it for now. Thank you always for the support and I will see you guys next time.